I wasn't too sure about leaving town that day. Collingwood was playing Hawthorn, and In Excess were at the Tennis Centre that night. This bloody trip would have to be good. I was going hiking for a week with 7 others from school. We had a teacher with us called Jono, who wasn't too bad, I guess, and a guide called Andrew. He looked too serious for my liking. Ahead of us was a 7-hour drive into the mountains somewhere in the middle of Victoria. By late that afternoon, the weather was worse, and so were the roads. Andrew reckoned they were like freeways compared to the last part of the route, and he was right. By the end of the drive, we were starting to think a few days walking could be an improvement.
Well, it's Saturday night. Well, the time is, what's the time? It's about 8:10. Well, I'd be ready, just about getting ready to go out. Good night on the town.
I wasn't really sure what to expect because I haven't really been up in any wilderness areas really before.
Well, Adam had a dream that I'd fallen off a cliff, so I hope that doesn't happen.
I didn't know there's a difference between forest and wilderness, and now I do, because we're nowhere. We're here in the middle of absolute nowhere.
I think the wilderness has to be a pretty big area, but completely untouched or almost untouched by humans.
Big, so you sort of can't hear your neighbours next door.
I knew wilderness was something like uncultivated and uninhabited, but that's what it is. Yeah.
I guess there were some doubts about this whole trip, and Jimmy summed them up.
I'll probably get really wet so I can appreciate home. Slightly cold.
Oh, man, look at it walking this today.
No, it's not going to be that bad.
You want to change it for me? No, I'm not going out. I'm going back to bed.
Yeah, good idea.
Well, you'll realise from yesterday how far away from civilisation we are. We're in one of the most remote alpine wilderness areas in Victoria. Today, we're going to be travelling east along the main divide. The weather conditions here can change very rapidly. 1 minute sunshine, the next minute you won't see a hand in front of you. It's important we all keep together as a group. We've got to keep together, and you've got to realise that this is pretty wild country.
Andrew wasn't joking. I don't reckon I've ever felt so small in my life before. He told us these mountains are the heart of the Victorian Alps. You can walk from here all the way to Kosciuszko, if you really want to, that is. We were planning to camp on the highest peak in the area, Mount Howard. Andrew reckoned it'd take us a day to get up there. That's if it didn't bloody snow or something. He said this was real alpine country we were heading into, and you can get blizzards and things up there, even in summer. It sounded pretty crazy to me, but at least it was good to be out of his four-wheel drive. I was glad to see the others were finding it as hard as me. I think we all thought we'd never make it. Once we got up on the ridges, though, the walking got a bit easier, and Andrew got a bit more talkative.
It's a bit on this side, flowing to the Southern Ocean. It's a very watershed of the continent.
We reached the top in better time than we'd expected. We were all pretty stuffed, but I had to admit it was worth it. It was like being on top of the world.
Andrew, what are they called?
It's the Viking and the Razor. They're two of the most important wilderness areas in Victoria.
Why?
Completely untracked. Never been logged.
Why is that?
Inaccessibility.
It was
mate.
hard to believe they could want to log any of the places we saw from up there. Anyone could see how fantastic it was.
How far is the Razor away from here?
The Razor.
I guess I must have been getting into this mountain stuff.
How high is that?
About 5,500 feet.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
It's
it's
amazing.
amazing area. This down here is the headwater of the Wanangata River. This is the basin in front of us, all wet sclerophyll forest, and it's completely untracked. You get down in there, you can spend days in there.
When does it start get covered with snow?
Oh, we could expect snow any day now. Right along all these ridges are giant cornices where the snow blows enormous waves from the prevailing wind, and sometimes they fall off and you see avalanches coming down all across these ridges, tumbling into valleys. And often when you get here in spring, you see the forest all split.
I couldn't imagine the tents being much use if we got some of that snow. They look pretty flimsy to me.
They probably go diagonally, don't they?
Yep.
We weren't really good at putting them up at first either.
Oh my God, Kirsty, how do these work? Bullets through this way.
Inside.
Oh, right.
It was amazing how fast we started to get the hang of things though. That was starting to seem like the story of this trip. You began to realise you could do things you hadn't thought about before, like the hard climbing. I hadn't thought I'd ever be interested, but being in such a great place seemed to change that. Our camp was in a pretty crazy spot though. You wouldn't have wanted to go sleepwalking.